The Mystical Archive presents. Dear Archive Explorers, today we are opening one of the Mystical Archive's darkest, most shocking, and deliberately concealed files. Since the Epstein files exploded into public view, the world has been shaken by horrific information spreading like sewage across the surface of our consciousness. But this is only the visible tip of the iceberg. Today, we're not just discussing a tabloid story or an ordinary criminal case. We're examining a massive crisis cycle that will continue until 2033, ancient rituals spanning thousands of years, and the domination struggle of entities that are not truly human over planet Earth. Let me tell you this is an awakening process. We stand at the threshold of an era where something entirely different exists beneath what we see, where the enigmatic age, the age of secrets conducted behind closed doors, is ending, and where the masses are being illuminated through a great shock. So, what really happened during that great lockdown in 2020 when tanks rolled through the streets? Did Epstein really die? And why are we in a chaos from which we won't be able to breathe until 2033? If you're ready, let's begin with the truths that shatter all paradigms. Epstein and the invisible reality. The name Epstein is on everyone's lips these days. Lists are being published, names are being exposed, and global elites are being revealed one by one. However, our sources say that this name is merely a symbol, nothing more. The real issue is where this man stood and the massive dark network he represented. From Trump to Clinton, from Bill Gates to members of royal dynasties, every new document emerging from this network reveals practices beyond humanity. This is not merely about one man and his perverse behaviors. This is a file that explains how power structures on Earth are shaped, who truly governs, and from what dark sources this power is fed. Epstein's suicide in a maximum security prison is described by many sources as grand theater. Think about it, the world's most dangerous file holder, the most critical prisoner, in the most secure prison, and right at this point, cameras malfunction, guards fall asleep, and the man hangs himself. Coincidence, or a planned extraction operation? According to sources, this man's death is nothing more than a show presented to the masses. In reality, the real question is, who now holds this dark archive, these files, these name lists? Because this archive is not just ordinary criminal evidence. This archive serves as a massive stick used to control world leaders, blackmail them, and make them act in desired directions. Whoever holds this stick governs the world, and right now, an invisible war is being waged for ownership of this stick. On Epstein Island, more than just perverse parties were happening. On that island, much deeper, much darker rituals were being performed. And this brings us to the heart of our subject, Baal rituals. Baal rituals and non-human entities. Now let's descend a bit deeper to that dark point that will turn your stomach. At the foundation of these events lies the figure of Baal, mentioned in ancient texts. Who is Baal? Baal is not just a name. Referenced in the Old Testament as the chief king of hell or a demon, this is an evolved entity or god figure serving darkness. Worshipped by the Phoenicians, Carthaginians, and Canaanites, this being has been associated throughout history with child sacrifice. We think we live in an enlightened age today. However, our sources say these ancient practices never ended, they simply went underground. It is estimated that approximately 2,500 children disappear without a trace worldwide every day. Some of these children are kidnapped, falling victim to human trafficking. But some are used for much darker purposes. These children, according to sources, are sacrificed to the rituals of creatures lacking compassion, who either don't carry the human gene or in whom this gene is not active. This goes beyond perversion, beyond sickness. This is a matter of belief. These legion members demonstrate their allegiance through the gravest sins they commit. For them, causing suffering to a child is the most valuable offering to Baal. By extinguishing the last spark of light in their own hearts, they believe they show complete surrender to darkness, and they believe that, after the apocalypse, they will rise together with Baal. This is not a scenario from Hollywood films. This is a picture compiled from Bohemian Grove meetings, rituals behind closed doors, seized documents, and testimonies. What we're truly facing is the ancient war itself between the sons of Adam and Satan. This war has continued throughout human history and is now approaching its final stage. Epstein Island was one of the modern fortresses of this war. That temple-shaped structure, those tunnels, those underground chambers, these were all ritual spaces. And this is just one island, one center. There are hundreds, perhaps thousands of such points worldwide. The 2020 lockdown and secret operations. We all remember 2020 for the quarantines brought by the pandemic. We locked ourselves in our homes, the streets emptied, the world stopped. But did it really stop? While we were locked in our homes, completely different events were unfolding around the world. When American tanks and commandos patrolled the streets of Berlin, London, and Vienna, local residents watched in bewilderment. The official explanation: NATO exercises. But why conduct such exercises during a pandemic when streets are empty? According to sources, this was not an occupation, but a massive rescue operation. Hundreds, even according to some sources, thousands of women and children were rescued from tunnels beneath Central Park, from the dungeons of European castles, from secret compartments of the Vatican. These were innocents who had endured severe torture, kept in darkness for years, some since the day they were born. Do you remember those field hospitals set up in Central Park? The official explanation: for COVID-19 patients. But why were these hospitals never seen full? According to sources, these hospitals were used for trauma victims rescued from underground. While we thought we were in quarantine, the largest raids in human history since World War II were being conducted underground and in secret sections of palaces. The scale of these operations had not been seen since the Second World War. It is claimed that even the Pope was questioned during this process, and the Vatican's underground archives were seized. Raids were conducted on the castles of Europe's most established families. A cleaning operation extending from Hollywood to Wall Street was initiated, but the media passed over all of this in silence. Why? Because the media itself is part of this system. Mainstream media is not designed to inform the public but to direct it. If you notice, during that period, many famous names announced, "I got COVID," and disappeared for weeks. Some looked physically different when they returned. Clone claims began spreading on social media. Whatever you think, it's clear that something extraordinary was happening during that period. Astrological cycles and the 2033 crisis. So, what awaits us in the future? Where is this shocking process that began in 2020 heading? According to sources, 2020 was just the beginning. It's the first step of a crisis cycle that will continue until 2033. This cycle is defined astrologically as a transition period, coded Mars, where 108-year grand cycles are completing on the cosmic calendar. If we look back 108 years, 1914, World War I, 1917, Bolshevik Revolution, 1918, Spanish flu. The world order completely changed. And now, we're in a new 108-year cycle that began in 2020. The enigmatic age, the age of secrets conducted behind closed doors, is now ending. It's giving way to a Plutonic and Uranian age, an age of clear confrontations and awakenings. Pluto represents transformation, bringing what's underground to the surface. Uranus represents unexpected shocks, revolutions, and awakenings. The year 2025 appears to be the final throes of the old system. 2026 will be the stormy beginning of the new world. During this transition period, nothing will be as it was before. During this process, everything from turmoil in Iran to the Syria situation, from economic earthquakes to the transition to a new monetary system, will be used like chess pieces. We're in a period where elephants fight and the grass gets trampled. But this is not just a physical war, this is also a spiritual war. We're experiencing a siege aimed at extracting human soul energy, where technology is used as an enslavement tool. Artificial intelligence, social media algorithms, the constantly streaming news cycle, economic pressures. All of these are tools designed to keep human consciousness at low frequencies, prevent awakening, and weaken the soul. The years 2026 and 2027 appear particularly critical during these years. Full transition to digital currency systems is expected. The disappearance of cash, tracking of every transaction, AI integration will accelerate. Job losses, social unrest, biometric identity systems will become widespread. Surveillance society, social media restrictions will increase. Censorship, under the name of misinformation. According to sources, even artificial womb technology systems that bypass natural birth will be on the agenda. The technological takeover of even that sacred process that unites the human soul with the body is being planned. The Mystical Archives note and the call to awakening. Dear archive explorers, we have exhausting and shocking years ahead. This is not an apocalypse scenario, this is a reality tableau. But within this tableau, there is also hope. Because all this darkness is also an indicator that the light is strengthening. Why is the darkness so active? Because awakening has begun. Why is the darkness so aggressive? Because it knows time is running out. So what should we do? Our sources show only one way out. Awaken to our own inner truth. First, don't be enslaved to matter. This system wants to control you through consumption, debt, and the hunger for possession. The less dependent you are on matter, the freer you are. Second, be vigilant against technology. Technology can be a tool, but it can also be a dungeon. Every hour spent in front of a screen is time stolen from your soul. Use it consciously, keep control in your hands. Third, be vigilant against the ego. Fear, anger, hatred, envy. These are low-frequency emotions and exactly the energy the archons feed on. Cleanse your heart of these poisons. Fourth, lean on your conscience. That quiet voice inside you is Sophia's gift, the gift of divine wisdom. That voice never lies. Listen to it. Fifth, protect your spiritual energy. Meditation, prayer, connection with nature, quality time with loved ones. These are practices that nourish your soul and raise your frequency. This is the only way to stand firm in the darkness of these end times. If we fail in this cycle, we may face a reset process, a flood, as has happened repeatedly throughout history, from Atlantis to Mu, from Noah's flood to the collapse of Sumer. Humanity has passed through this threshold before, and every time it failed, it started over. But this time can be different. Although awakening comes to us through shaking, it offers an opportunity to remember that pure human within us. Every time each of us awakens, collective consciousness rises. Every time each of us shines our light, darkness retreats. This is not just the exposure of a file, this is humanity's test of destiny. This cycle, continuing until 2033, will either result in humanity's great awakening or be the beginning of a new dark age. The choice is in our hands, in the hands of each one of us. The Epstein files, Baal rituals, secret operations, astrological cycles, these are all pieces of the same story. And that story is this: humanity must choose between the light within itself and darkness. Which side are you choosing? Take care of yourself and your soul. Keep your frequency high. Don't fear, because fear is their weapon. Love, because love is your shield. At the Mystical Archive, we have archived the truth. Now it's your turn. Awaken. May your light never fade. Until the next archive entry. The Mystical Archive, Truth Archived. Awakening begun.